So I've been covering the continued down spiral of Candace Owens for a few weeks now, ever since, well, I guess a couple months now, ever since Charlie Kirk got that thing in his throat. You see, Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk were really good friends. They went bowling together, they fished together. I have some conspiracies about how close they might have been behind the scenes, considering they were both married. But nonetheless, Candace Owens has been a proponent of the idea that Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel, TPUSA, MAGA, the FBI, literally roll a dice, and she'll be blaming one of these groups on a given day. I don't know exactly what cabal she thinks is running things. I'm guessing it's the Jews, but she is fully bought into the idea that every conspiracy about Charlie Kirk's death is true. And she has made some bizarre claims. But that's not what we're talking about today. Because well before this whole Charlie Kirk thing, she'd really already started to go fully off the deep end. As if she was ever in the shallows to begin with, but you know. She has gone on a now multi-year long arc of personally harassing the president of France and his wife. Now, to be fair, the president of France, Macron, and his wife's story is definitely weird. There's some things about it that raise eyebrows, to say the least. For those that don't know, Macron was like a teenager in high school when he first met his now wife. She was like a 30 or 40-year-old teacher, and he was a student. And then years and years later, like after, oh yeah, he was 14. He was in like middle school. I guess he would have been a freshman in high school, but whatever. Years and years and years later, after he was like in college and stuff and got out of college, they would meet again and end up dating and then getting married. And they've been married for like, I think over a decade now. Like, well over a decade now. The fuck? Oh, that's normal? Well, a lot of people see it, and there's just something about it that rubs them the wrong way. Like, a lot of people assume there must have been some grooming involved. Like, there's a big age gap, and they met when he was underage. So it's like, there's an element to it that just, even though nothing literally happened, provably, that's sus. There's something weird about it, right? And France doesn't give a fuck, to be clear. At the end of the day, though, Macron is an adult. He is a grown man and the president of France. If he was groomed by his wife, I think by now he would feel quite empowered to take agency for himself. I could end up being wrong, but that's just my read of things. Ironically, that is just a little bell or whistle on the art sculpture that is the insane conspiracy theory spiral that Candace Owens has gone on when it comes to the Macrons. Because while that weird factor to the story might lend some credence to what you might, or may come off like it lends credence to what Candace Owens has to say, she has been on a multi-year-long crusade to try and prove that Macron's wife is secretly a man. That's right, guys. They're giving him the Obama treatment. They did this with Michelle Obama, claiming she was secretly Michael Obama. Who remembers? We all remember, right? I was there. You guys were probably there. It's just a repeat of the same nonsense. Candace Owens has literally written books about the secret life of Michael Macron, as she calls her, I guess. But like, it's been a continued sustained harassment campaign. A big part of her content is literally openly encouraging her fans to harass the Macrons. Like, to quote-unquote not let them get away with it, is a very common thing she likes to say. And because of that, the President of France and the First Lady are suing her. Candace Owens is getting sued. Now, she does not talk about this lawsuit all that much publicly, but she has continued with her blatant slander and libel, because she's written books too, about the Macrons. And I thought we'd go ahead and take a look into her most recent live stream about them, where she claims, "Another French front. Did Charlie Kirk save my life?" I think she is unironically going to try and argue in this video that Charlie Kirk saved her from getting assassinated by the French president and his wife. When I say she's fully jumped the shark, I'm not exaggerating, guys. Now, before we get into this, if you end up enjoying the video, leave a like, comment down below. Candace Owens is cringe if you want to support the video. Hype the video as well, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Let's get right into it.
All right, you guys, I know that I say that every episode is going to be explosive, but the lies and the intentional misrepresentations that are being delivered by Turning Point USA and their affiliates, they are really reaching a fever pitch, because we can confirm that Brian Harpole lied badly to Sean Ryan interview that one of the heads of security gave the other day, and I'm going to explain to you
Every
how
time
we know that. I'm starting to think that we should believe that...
I don't know why that shit wouldn't pause. Every time she comes out with some new group of names with allegations, it's like, oh, so she's finally come to the bottom of who's behind this. But then she never mentions them again, like outside of maybe like a follow-up video, and she's on to like the next accused conspirer to kill Charlie Kirk. She's truly just milking this story for every last bit of clout and money she can. And she was best friends with the guy as well. That's what's so fucked up about it.
nothing they've told us is real. Plus, I don't think we can reasonably ignore that
Israel?
odd French company in Delaware, now that our source proved to us that it certainly wasn't established to provide any maintenance to those Egyptian planes, and it was more than likely a front for something else. We should address that. Because I know that many of you guys were wondering whether or not Charlie's assassination was meant to distract us from the Brigitte Macron investigation, and rightfully so. That is a fair question. Because as you guys know, it was
The Brigitte Macron investigation. By the way, what she's referring to as an investigation is her transvestigation.
Charlie Kirk that called me and told me that they wanted me to stop speaking about Brigitte. But the question is always, who is they? Who is they? Welcome back to Candace.
Who is they, guys? Who do you think Candace means when she says they? For those that aren't aware, by the way, hold on. When she says they...
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In congressional hearings, the minority party gets to select its own witnesses. And of all the people that Republicans could have selected, they picked Candace Owens. I don't know Miss Owens. I'm not going to characterize her. I'm going to let her own words do the talking. So I'm going to play for you the first 30 seconds of a statement she made about Adolf Hitler.
I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German.
All right, so my first question is to Ms. Hirschenoff. Ms. Owens said, quote, if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. So when people try to legitimize Adolf Hitler, does that feed into white nationalist ideology?
So yeah, if your thoughts on Candace maybe being a Nazi, like, oh, does she hate the Jews or whatever? Yeah, she does. She definitely does.
Grief is weird, okay? I gotta tell you, in those weeks following Charlie's assassination, I didn't feel like myself. I felt like I was honestly having an out-of-body experience. I didn't want to accept things. Obviously, you know, that's the reason that I went away to Wyoming. But with every week that we move further from September 10th, I have more clarity. And I'm starting to focus on things that happened in those early days. There are certain things that are playing in my mind over and over again. I would say that happened in the first 72 hours following Charlie's assassination. I was in a state of trauma, and not for a single second during that state of trauma.
You were grinding out content, pulling like a 10 million views per live stream and making shitloads of money. You were not in shock. Okay, you were milking. You got on that shit ASAP and you have still not dropped it.
Did I believe that Turning Point USA would later be involved in what seems like a cover-up, right? It seems like if you have to lie ever, it's because you're covering up the truth. Duh. And like I said, my initial sense was that all of us would come together and try to figure out who did this, because the Tyler Robinson story wasn't making any sense. Well, I want to tell you guys this. There's another phone call that I had with Andrew Colvett where I was crying on the phone with him.
I'm going to be honest, the Tyler Robinson cope, like, this is Candace Owens also trying to get the left on her side, and I've seen it work. I've seen lefties actually start to like Candace Owens because she plays into the Tyler Robinson couldn't have done it thing. The cope around, like, trying to claim Tyler Robinson didn't do it is wild. For those who don't know, we deep dived everything when Charlie Kirk got shot. There's not a single element of that case that we missed a detail of. And everybody who claims the FBI is lying about who killed Charlie Kirk gets key details in the story wrong very casually, to the point where they blatantly self-report that they have read none of the primary sources, they've done none of their own research, and that they've only gone to independent media figures online and trusted them to regurgitate the truth to them. And oftentimes they have fundamental misunderstandings and gaps in their knowledge that glare when it comes to the Tyler Robinson thing. The amount of people I've seen try to claim that the DMs between Tyler Robinson and his roommate are AI generated, as if the FBI would have to use Sora, or not Sora, but fucking ChatGPT to fake text or Discord DMs to incriminate somebody falsely. Like, like, it's like people are making up the most, like, lefty hate bait explanations, you know? Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Tyler Robinson did it. Everything matches. Everything lines up. His grandpa's gun is what was used to do the shooting and was stashed and buried exactly where he said he stashed and buried it in those messages. It is his grandpa's gun. We have many, many ways to verify a gun is a specific gun. It is borderline impossible to fake. On top of that, there is, like his car was there. His vehicles, people had a problem with him calling. I'm sorry. I could rant about this all day. I'm sorry, guys. Tyler did it. He was just a mentally ill person who happened to be left-leaning, and, listen, alright? Your mileage may vary on whether or not you think Tyler Robinson was justified, but, publicly, bad. Bad. Tyler Robinson, bad. That is my public opinion, because of reasons.
I mean, I am talking maybe 72 hours max after Charlie was killed, and he was also upset on the phone, but he said something, and it's hitting differently the more that I think about it. He said, and I quote, "Candace, it was supposed to be you. It was supposed to be you." Now, at the time, I dismissed this as some sort of bargaining, right? That's an actual stage of grief. You do bargain. You wish that it was this person. You could trade it. Maybe you wish that it was yourself. And to be honest, I did go through that phase of bargaining with Charlie. Like, why didn't it happen to somebody else? This is a good person who had his whole life ahead of him.
Do with that what you will. Based on chat's reaction, I feel like I don't need to explain why that's psychotic.
I mean, I told you that even my father went through that stage of grief. My father was like, this makes me feel terrible because Charlie has lived his life so admirably, and like I've had so many chances. And
you know what this reminds me that I need to show you guys? A friend of mine in the Hytale sphere, who I can assure you does not like Charlie Kirk, made a shitpost. If you guys aren't aware, there's a viral song right now that is that's like a song version of "We Are Charlie Kirk," the phrase that all these people have been saying, and mine went ahead and took the piss out of it in regards to Hytale, and this might be the greatest shitpost I've seen.
We are Hytale, we carry the flame. We'll fight for Simon, we'll honor his name.
Dude, you could tell that every Charlie Kirk fan in the Hytale community did not like that. They're real upset. They're real fucking pissed. It is so fucking funny. Okay, there are some people that are, yeah. I hate this, but I find it funny to think this is just, that's just being the worship song to every Simon statue built. Man, why did you make this mine? This is without a doubt the worst thing to wake up and see. Skull emoji, laughing, crying. I wanted this, but it's honestly horrid. I knew it. Skull, what the? This sucks. Please delete this now. Yeah, you need to be locked up. We are Hytale. Yeah. Yeah, that is a pretty top tier shitpost. I'm proud of my boys in the Hytale community right now.
life, so many illnesses, and it just makes me so sad. But now I'm feeling a little bit different, removed from the situation. Like now I'm going, was I being, I don't know, was he being honest? Was Andrew being honest? Was Andrew trying to maybe communicate to me after, especially given the fact that I told you that while the actual day on September 10th, while Charlie was in the hospital, he told me that there was a list and that me and Tucker Carlson were on it and that we had to lay low, but he never told me who told him that. I never got a call.
Oh, do we have a
the Fed.
conservative in chat? All right, let's see if they do it again. Democrats couldn't do good if they corrupted the whole country. Haha, literally did nothing while you grew up. Haha. Boomer 720, do you want to come on stream and debate about it, or are you too scared to defend your positions? Answer immediately. You're running out of time. This is a recorded segment, and I don't feel like editing out any of these pauses. So you've got... I'll message you. You better. You better. We can debate tomorrow on stream. I'm wrapping up after this segment, so if you're down to tomorrow, I'll be live at 9 a.m. and I'll wrap up close to around 1 or 2 p.m. So if you got that window, I hope to see you here, my friend. I'll already say I appreciate that you're down to debate if you're being real.
It's telling me that. So
might
I feel
have
like these
one,
questions
guys.
I have now are quite valid. Andrew, by the way, was not the only person who called me on that day and reached out to my family on that day with this warning, immediately cautioning me and Tucker to keep our mouths shut, telling us that we should lay low because there was a quote-unquote list going around. Another person was a very well-known woman who happens to be married to a CIA contractor. Same exact message. You and Tucker Carlson. But, of course, we cannot tell you who we are getting this information from. I'm starting to realize, as I consider who the sources are and their closeness to the military, and now that we've gotten into the story and realized that virtually everybody there that day has these military ties, that threat may have been coming from the government, actually. That the globalized government that we live under, right? LOL to the idea that we have a
When they say globalized, they mean Jewish.
national sovereignty, may have wanted me and Tucker to watch our friend die. And then that global gang wanted us to know that you will be next if you don't shut up. Like, really, it was supposed to be you. And this new status angle is not something that seems subtle to me. When I consider that it was Charlie that called me, it was Charlie that said that they want me to stop speaking about Brigitte, and now I consider...
God, using her best friend's death to, like, support her conspiracy theory she's getting sued for. She's so shameless. She's truly sold whatever was left of her soul. I feel like we all should have gotten a hint that she was, like, completely, like, gone when she went from being the hyper SJW doxing cyberbullies. For those who don't know, she originally, like, in 2016, she was hated by the right. She started a website called Social Autopsy, and it was a doxing website for doxing racist, homophobic, transphobic cyberbullies. She became the laughingstock of the anti-SJW sphere for months, and quickly heel-turned, and started pandering to the same people that were attacking her relentlessly. And nowadays, she is fully, just blatantly sold out. I mean, she already had. I feel like when you see the path she's taken from, like, doxing cyberbullies to being Hitler was right or whatever, I feel like that very clearly lays out how shameless she is, but the fact she has fallen this low, that interpersonally she's willing to throw people under the bus like this, man, that is pathetic. Also, mind you, she claims to be a Christian. Might I add, she has, Jesus Christ on a cross in the background. This is literally demonic. Christians in chat, of which there are a surprising amount, can confirm it. This is literally biblically demonic behavior. Using the imagery of God, and particularly Jesus, and his death for the sins of man, in order to push hatred and anti-Christian beliefs. In fact, specifically being a false prophet that falsely uses the ideals of Christianity to push hate and anti-Christian beliefs is literally what demons do. Like, okay, like, your conception of demons is probably colored by like, media and stuff, but as far as the Bible is concerned, demons just try to lie to you until you believe it, and lead you off the path of righteousness, right? Like, that's literally what the Bible says demons do. It's more or less the beginning and end of their whole thing. That is what Candace Owens is doing right now, okay? Literal demonic behavior. Biblically demonic behavior.
Status, which according to our source, our well-placed source, is a front, right? Suddenly this French company comes in and leases a hangar for only 2 years, okay? And immediately this becomes a location where our Egyptian military plane is going to land in Wilmington, Delaware.
Someone take away Zan's Bible. I don't own a Bible, for one, but I'm not Christian either, but I love me some theology, bro. I love researching theology. I've loved it since I was a kid, but I'll never believe any of it. Sorry to the Christians and other religious people in chat. I will continue to thoroughly research your religions, and I wouldn't call it open-minded to believing it, but I'm open-minded to hearing about it, and I love hearing about it, but I'm sorry, I can't bring myself to believe in magic. You know, there's a lot of magic in religion, and I don't believe in magic.
Not to get service. We know there was no maintenance happening because there was this lack of a lease since 2021. All of this now feels really interesting, very interesting. And don't forget that
Damn, Zan already deconverted. I've never been religious.
That same source claimed that after our Egyptian plane, tail number SUBTT, landed into this federally monitored hangar, that a foreign dignitary was then discreetly moved to 920 King Street, which we've learned and confirmed houses the DEA, the FBI, and the Secret Service. Quite rare, right? Quite rare for the Department of Justice to be coming together with the DHS. I mean, that's weird. So what does France have to do with it, right? What does Tucker Carlson have to do with it? Rationally, when I begin to create a timeline of when my life took a very different turn, it is because I began prodding the narrative on Israel at the exact same time that I began looking into the Brigitte Macron story. That was in March of 2000.
The Jews run France is her claim. She genuinely is trying to push the idea that, like, the Jewish-Israeli lobby runs France, and Brigitte Macron is secretly a man and part of it, and they also were going to kill Candace Owens, and Charlie Kirk saved her. Wow.
24. It was on March 13th, 2024, that I did the very first ever episode on Brigitte Macron, right? And then, wham, I am fired within 10 days. It's a pretty quick turnaround. Charlie, of course.
Candace Owens was fired because she was fighting openly, viciously with Ben Shapiro.
Was a staunch defender of mine. Immediately when I got fired, publicly and privately, he held my back, and then suddenly donors start to squeeze him and tell him that I can no longer hit the stage at Turning Point's Amfest. They want me gone from the Turning Point roster, right? I bring my new independent show back in June. And the timeline, actually, when I start to put these things together, is interesting. So we're going to bring that up here because I like timelines. It makes things neat, right? So we are in 2024, right? March 13th, I do that first episode regarding Brigitte Macron. March 19th, just 6 days later, I'm fired from the Daily Wire. I thought it was 10. It's actually 6 days later I get fired from the Daily Wire. Then, in mid-November, I begin communicating with Xavier Poussard regarding the potential to interview him during an upcoming trip to London. Xavier Poussard is a person who wrote the Becoming Brigitte book. He has never been sued for defamation, and I was only going to interview him one time because he had never been on camera. And I thought that would be a great get, and I still believe that Brigitte Macron was born a man named Jean-Michel Trogneau.
Yeah, that's the book she's talking about, Becoming Brigitte. Didn't she publish that? Wait. Okay. So, I like how she just blatantly lied there. I thought she was lying. So yeah, what she's referencing is... So the way she said that is like, oh, this Xavier Poussard guy, he's the one who wrote the book Becoming Brigitte, and he's not getting sued. Well, the reason why he's not getting sued is because on the cover of the book, it's called Candace Owens Presents an Investigation by Xavier Poussard. Believe it or not, doing an investigation and coming to a conclusion in that investigation, false or whatever, does not constitute libel or defamation. But taking that false information and presenting it as the truth knowingly that it's false, and being the writer and presenter of it, does make you a libelist. Repeating it by word on your show does constitute defamation. And that is why she is getting sued. Like, there you go, just a blatant lie right then and there. Candace Owens has truly sold what is left of her soul. There's nothing left anymore. She is hollow on the inside. She is truly evil. I would go as far as to say that she is a demon. If demons exist, Candace Owens is one of them. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment down below, hype the video to boost it in the algorithm, and subscribe if you want to see more from me. But with that said, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next one.